So, before the reconstruction of the national embassies of the Inuit tribes of Africa, there was a imperium within Arabia that started to dominate the eastern front of the heretic tribes of Eastern Decay. So, since the Mediterranean was a boundary against the humidity of the uh, oceanic of the Atlantic uh, deformed the terrain amongst the very east and allowed for a frost-bitten territory towards the north. Because these oceanic temperatures change within the tropics of the Midwest of the Asiatic continent, they allow for a lot of uh, deformed terrain to drift between layers of open barriers of uh, high drift and hydroplane continuities. So they manifest a humidity that is drought and Pacific to their coastal line. So, since that occurs, there is a community called the Anatolians within the Turkish communities towards the south of the Arabic border, because they are the inheritors of the Tropicana and the National Congress of a society of aristocrats. So aristocrats would be born from a Anatolian base because there is a Europeanized nationality that allows for a inheritor to these planes of relativity that don't denounce themselves as Republican, but as a Inuit and sanctioned from its roots native and Latin. So, since these Latin borders exist separate from the native roots, this is how the indigoization of their community happened into a native Turkish and a native Islamic community. So the Islamic community would be the National European Congress that allows for the hosting of a committee of Democrats and the sanctioning of a hospital of workers for the National Guard of platforming Houthis, which would be a sanction of tribal masks they wear for undermining Republicans. So, understanding why people hide behind the party rather than ingest it would be why they platform to the eukaryotic people, because the eukaryotic people are Democratic and Republican as well. They exist to platform the inbreeding of their own culture rather than other people's culture. So this is how the white plantations formed within their fields, because this is how the French nativists ingrow their culture to the south of the border, because they keep planting new fields and then they ingest other people's grain so that they steal from their resources their inheritors. So inheritors are the monopoly of the owners. So, and this is all to build an Ottoman front so that the festival east of the border starts to expand westward. So that if an Ottoman is to become an Anatolian and accept the key to the city of the Arabic empires, which is to be an Islamic Turk, and that is to accept a city mass within a Sharia of Assyrians that don't deny but are at war with themselves on who gets to own their own republican laws. So if a Assyrian member is to counsel himself, the Assyrian member isn't no longer in the Assyrian Congress, he's in the Turkish community. So uh, if a Anatolian is to become a Islamic, they are kicked out of the Ottoman community because they are no longer in an Asian settlement camp for the Islamic base. So an Islamic base is nationalized through the acceleration of African warfare, and those African roots are ingrained on those ceilings of red tribal grasses that are European in root. So if those are the native lands of their real people that are grown from a Baptist origin of European Congress, so if Congress is to be unified under an Islamic community, there would be a sanction to be Ottoman Assyrian in a way that denounces the native church, but introduces the Turkish as if they are the first Cenobites or productive members of a Hellenist community. And the Hellenist community grows out of the Turkish community into the Ottoman community, and that's how the Aristotelian church forms from denouncing art as a vanity, but as a membership into class. So class is a element within Hellenist society, and Helena is actually the West forming to unify East as a sanction against the monopoly of the eukaryotes. So eukaryotes are a formal but a democratic agreement with the state first and foremost. So any democracies to be formed with it are to be formed with the inheritors of the republic themselves. So if these people are to sanction themselves as a unified front, they're to be unified by National Assembly, which would be a Assyrian convention to renew the uh, Turkish soil as the inheritors of democracy.